recorded live from Studio 12A in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. You're listening to the Josh and Friends Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the Josh and Friends Podcast. I am your host. My name is Josh, and this week I have another returning guest back to the show. During his first appearance, we discussed a security detail for a Saudi prince. He also described how he pumped iron with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And he pantsed one of our friends' dads at a racetrack in the middle of a sporting event. I mean, you can't make this up. And he also discussed working with the legendary actor Al Pacino. Hoo-ah! And today he's back to discuss some more blasts from the past. So buckle up your seatbelt, hold on tight, and enjoy the ride. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show my good buddy, Mr. Cool himself, the one and only Mr. Sean Greenfield. All right, Sean, welcome back to the show, man. How you been?
Oh, pretty good. Is it going now? Is there like some sort of buzzer or like a starting gun or something? Or
this is it, man. You're on the air. You are on the air. Welcome back. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good, dude. So how's the weather been up in Seattle? Has it been pretty nice, or?
Yeah, it's been 70-ish or so, something like that.
Oh, the best time to be in Seattle is summertime, and I mean I like fall too.
Weather-wise, there's really no good time to be in Seattle actually, but it's a good time for the weather.
So where are you living now? Are you living up in? Are you still up in Puyallup area?
I'm in Graham.
Oh, Graham, that's right. So how are your kids doing these days?
Oh, they're good. They're actually hanging out in the other room and finding stuff to do, doing whatever kids do, I guess. which is like, I mean, of course, like I say that, and then I immediately think of like, well, like not what I used to do, thankfully, but yeah, they're doing what they normally do, so that's good.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. You don't want them doing what you used to do.
Not even a little bit.
So I said that I wanted to have you back on the show. Here we are. It's always fun to talk to you about the good old days, and some of the best times that I could remember hanging with you always seem to be involving food. You notice that?
Well, yeah, but like we were pretty much just always eating, so the odds are pretty good. That's
true. I was gonna say, probably a lot of that had to do with the era we were hanging out to, like high school and junior college. So yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to do.
There was no food. Yeah. Like the times when we would go through the drive-through and order stuff and then just like keep going.
Yeah,
we can thank Franco for that since it was his car.
He'd go through the drive-through and order like salt, and he's like, "Could I get 3 salt packets, a cup of water, and like anything that was free that he would order?"
Yeah,
and then we'd blow
straws and cup lids and stuff.
Yeah, here are these assholes again. But everything Franco used to say, like the way he would say it was funny. You know what I mean? He's just one of those guys he's just a funny dude.
Yeah, totally. Like even unintentionally, hilarious. I love that guy. Cool to see him again.
Yeah. So, but it had me think into when we were back in high school and we would go to these all-you-can-eat places. And remember the one that was like right closest to where we used to hang out was at John's place. Was that a Godfather's that was right down the street?
Oh yeah, the Godfathers. Yeah, over by where the flower shop and stuff.
Yeah, yes. So I remember this one story. I mean, I don't know if you remember this as well as I do, but I just remember because it was painful. So we would have these contests to see who could eat the most pizza. And it was like you mentioned, it was great entertainment. For 17, 18-year-olds or whatever, however old we were. Mm-hmm. So. Because you could just walk into this place and you could pay like $5 and literally just sit there for like an hour and a half, just stuffing your face with pizza and soda and just whatever crap else they had. And I remember one day it was me, you, John, and Lee, and we decided to go over there for lunch. And do you remember this?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so just first off, I am not great at these contests, but I was a competitor.
Yep.
it was all four of us were like, you and John are kind of like half-assed. You're like, look, we're here to eat, we're here to like, kind of enjoy ourselves. And like Lee and I, we just kept going, right? So here it is. It's down to Lee and I. You guys kind of like bailed. You're just like, yeah, whatever, kind of like laughing at us.
Well, yeah, y'all are going for like, that winning that contest for the awesome grand prize of fucking nothing.
Exactly. This kind of shit we would do just for the hell of it. So I get down to my 20th piece of pizza and I'm sitting there and I'm just chewing on this last piece. And I haven't finished it. I just started it and I'm chewing it. And Lee looks over and he's like, you done? And I go, not even close. And he goes, all right. And you and John are just like laughing, kind of giggling at us. And then I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I finally I stopped chewing and I spit it out. And Lee raises his arms in the air and he proclaims himself the champion. Uh-huh. And, it was like one of those things where I'm like, all right, so not only did I lose the contest, but do you remember the ride home? Yeah. The ride home is like 2 minutes away. It's not even far away. You and John are in the front seat. I'm in the back, kind of like laying sideways because I'm in so much pain. Uh-huh. Lee just, strolls to his car. He's like, hey, I'll see you guys later. And he like just blows off in his truck. It's just another day at the office. I'm sitting there. I'm in such pain. And you guys went over a curb or something like that. And I'm like, oh God. Oh, and you guys are like laughing so hard. And I'm like, oh God, I'm in so much pain. I can't believe how much pain I'm in. And we get finally to his place. I'm like hardly walking. I'm like, and I just crawl into the bathroom and I'm just puking my brains out. But that's the kind of fun that we used to have. So I was just kind of thinking about that story and how dumb, well, I guess it just shows how dumb I was because you guys were like, this is great. I paid $5, had a great meal. And here we are. Now we're just laughing at this idiot over here.
Yeah. That's a great part about that contest is because you get to feel like that afterwards, and you just laying there, puking your guts out, just thinking to yourself, this is what victory feels like.
I could never be like those Joey Chestnut guys, like in those contests where he just like eats like 100 hot dogs or something like that. I'm like, what is this for real? Like, how's he doing this? He's a magician. He's not really eating those. Where is he? I don't know. But then fast forward later down the road, and I wasn't a good competitor like before, and I'm still not because then we'd have these fat tours. And Sean, what is a fat tour?
Yeah, the fat tour. You're making me hungry. So, we go around to as many places as we could find, like, and just get meals from all of them, and then take them back and just like lay it all out and eat all of it. Yeah. So we were like, I think it was like one of those times we're kind of hungry. We're just sitting down in the basement, and one of us, probably you, because you're always hungry. One of us is like, hey, I'm hungry. And I'm like, you're hungry again? Didn't we just eat? You're like, yeah, I'm kind of hungry. I'm like, all right. I'm always like, it could have been like 5 minutes ago, and I'd be like, that was hours ago.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, you want to get something to eat? You're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, like, when do you want to go? You're like, I wish I was eating right now. And I'm like, okay, we should probably get going here. But then we start thinking about it. We're like, okay, well, what do we want? And like everyone names something else. So we're like, oh shit, we can't really, usually people compromise in real life, like, okay, I don't really feel like a burger, but I'll, whatever. So that's why we decided to just literally go to every place. But the funny thing was, I remember you like ordered literally something at every place. We went to like McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell, Arby's, Dairy Queen. And I'm like, what is that? You're really going to order something from every place? You're like, yeah, I'm hungry. And I'm like, yeah, but we're going to like hit all these other places. You're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. I'm like, okay.
That's because to me, everything that you eat up until the last thing that you eat was an appetizer.
And remember we'd come back with these bags, and there was like 10 bags of food. And I like how we all got them to go. We didn't, we get them to go, and we like just pile all these bags, and there's like 8 Frosties sitting around, like just giant piles of food. And I'm like, how are we not like 400 pounds?
Stupidity burns off a lot of calories, maybe.
Oh, God. So, how about the time that we were in the Jack in a Box drive-thru with Lee?
Which that time with the Jack and the one when I was like super fucking wasted. You see that one?
Yeah. So like,
oh my God.
Yeah. So I still have that video. I think it was like a mix of all different levels of drunk between us. Like Lee was the driver. He's the sober guy. I was the buzzed / feeling pretty good passenger, and then you were in the back. So he's the guy in the back that's always feeling the worst. You're hammered. But
yeah.
I wouldn't say you were feeling the worst. You were probably feeling the best, except you had the door kind of open up as an emergency.
You know, if you're holding the door open in the moving car and everything, but holding the door open so that you don't actually have to try and open it when you gotta, spew. You're kind of past the point of like feeling pretty good and like into the territory of feeling shitty already, and it's not even the next day yet.
I think you and I were having the best time because Lee was, it was Lee's car.
The funny thing is like Lee's quotes are hilarious. I wish there was a way it'd be funny if you could post that video in this somehow or include it in the video or something.
Yeah.
But
I go, hey, what do you think of Sean over here? And you're like, he's fucking hammered or something like that. And then I pan back.
God.
I pan back to you, and you're just like, oh God. You're like, I don't know. For some reason, you brought up Popeye, and I can't even remember how that came up. But you're like, fuck Popeye.
Yeah. I don't know that video. It's funny. It's semi embarrassing just for being that fucking stupid. And then, and the other funny thing about that time is that on that night, it was one of the times when I stayed at your place. And you brought me in some of those Jack in the Box tacos.
Oh my gosh!
And I never had them before. And you brought them in there, and I was like half blacked out already. And you put them on the table next to me, and I'm like, what is that? They're like Jack in the Box tacos. And I was like, I don't want them. And you go, you should eat them because they're fucking delicious. I guess
they're deep fried.
Your sales pitch of the Jack in the Box tacos was they're fucking delicious. And so I was like, okay, like I'll try to eat one because, even if I don't like it, I'm well past the point of giving a fuck like what I actually eat or not right now.
Right.
And I literally tasted like the tiniest little, I touched my tongue to it and like sprinted down the hall to the bathroom and just hurled my guts out. Not because of the tacos; they are fucking delicious, for real. But like I've liked them ever since then, though. Just for the record, and I have you to thank for it. And so
you're welcome. Oh wow, that's great. Yeah, and then you continued the puke fest on the way home. I got that. I got a picture of you doing that too.
That was the next day when you had to pull over in that Winco parking lot, huh?
Yeah. Jesus, the Winco parking lot. Man. I forgot about. Yeah, it was a Winco.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of good times in the basement, do you remember Melbosia?
Yeah. That's funny. That is funny.
So, just to explain what the heck we're talking about, because people are like, what's Melbosia? I think me, you, and Riddle are probably the only people that get what this is. This girl I was seeing at the time, her name was Melissa. She hated scary movies. So, of course, I run to my DVD player and I put in that old show, The Haunting, or A Haunting, or whatever the heck it's called, where they reenact those, like, true ghost stories. Those haunted ghost stories.
True ghost stories.
Yeah, and they're like super creepy intro with a super creepy narrator guy. He's like, in this world, there is real evil. It's like Melbosia was something that I think Riddle came up with the name of it or something. I don't know, but him and I came up with this like ridiculously stupid story about how this satanic creature lurked in the backyard. And do you remember that? You remember our backyard, like at night? It was, dude, that was scary. It looked like a haunted scene. The backyard was super dark.
Yeah.
Overgrown wooded area. It looked like a big park.
Down at the back side, by the bushes and stuff. Yeah.
It's seriously, and it had no lights. And just like tons of trees and like, just overgrown area of like weeds and shrubs and stuff like that. And we told the Melissa girl, we told her this story about how we found this old well under some shrubs while we were clearing it out one day when we were weeding. And it was like half dark out. And then we looked inside. We looked inside this well and we saw these red eyes appear in front of us. And we were like, and we threw the bushes down and we started running back up the house. And then we could see this creepy ass ghost image like hovering above I don't know, I can't remember exactly what the story was. But so you were over visiting and then she came over. One time I acted like I was going to the bathroom. You remember that. I know you remember this because this is like one of the hardest I've ever seen you laugh in my entire life.
Yeah, let me say first, like the story, because for whatever reason, you decided to like really try to freak her out. So you got into that story, and dude, it was ridiculous. Like the ridiculousness of the story, and it was amazing how scared she was actually getting by it. And so this was blowing my mind because I was like, not only is somebody like believing this, but actually getting freaked out by it in the middle of the daytime and everything. And then you did that like fake like going to the bathroom thing and hid behind the couch instead.
It was perfect because you had the perfect view of it, right? Because you're like facing you're facing that direction. She's facing the other direction. So like when I went to the bathroom, she couldn't see anything. So I just closed the door, but I didn't close it. I closed the door on the outside. And then you see me like getting on my knees, like you're up behind her, and I just scared the piss out of her. I thought she was literally going to piss herself. Oh, and you were laughing. She was screaming.
Terrified. Yeah.
And she was like curled up in a ball. Like I was scared that she was going to have a heart attack.
Yeah. Like just the whole thing was super hilarious. Just because like it hasn't been that easy to scare the shit out of somebody that badly since John's little cousins were like 5, like,
oh man. Yeah. I love scaring people. It's fun. I should have worked at one of those haunted houses. Now those things have gotten a little out of control where you literally have to sign waivers and stuff like that. And some of those are pretty hardcore. But but you know what story I also liked a lot was the time that my parents were having a 4th of July barbecue and you came over, and this wasn't planned or anything, but you were wearing this shirt that had a picture of yourself on it. And and then I'd say about an hour later or a half hour later, Lee shows up and I think Lee's looking at you and he goes, "Holy shit, dude." He goes, I can't believe you actually have a shirt with your face on it. And you're like, yeah, I do. And the reason why Lee said that is because Lee has a shirt with his face on it, and it was like in the truck or something. And I go, okay, Lee, you got to go get that. So I make him go get it. And it's funny because like I had a shirt of myself as well, but mine was in like Kent or something like that. I'm not going to Kent. And it's funny because this is actually, you guys both had shirts of yourselves. I had to take a picture of this. I have this picture and it's fantastic because you guys were wearing pictures of yourself and it wasn't planned that I know of.
No, not at all. I still have that shirt. I mean, I don't, it's like, it's old. I haven't worn it in years, but I still have it. Like you don't get rid of a piece of merchandise like that. I'll tell you that right now.
It's just so organic and real and in the moment. The fact that both of you guys had those shirts of yourselves at my party, at my parents' party, is just classic. Says a lot about you guys.
Yeah, I know. That was awesome. That was awesome. Like maybe top 2 coincidences ever in the history of mankind.
That's like, it really is one of those things that you can't make up. So Sean, I have a question for you. What is the most drunk you've ever been? And where is the strangest place you've ever passed out? By the way, Sean, I like how you have to think about this.
Yeah. Well,
most people would be like, "Oh, that's easy." It was the time that, oh no, not Sean. He's like, "Ooh, I have to narrow it down, huh? Could I make a top 10 list?"
Yeah, it would. I don't know, man. because it's really tough to say. Because there's so many. Like I have, no, I mean like this is a fucking bait question. Like you got me on this on purpose because you were there for some of them.
So,
like,
man, they're awesome.
Like I can tell you some of them. I don't know which was the worst, but like I remember one time when I lived in Florida, I went to this bar. It was like set up like one of those tiki hut type of places or whatever.
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though it wasn't on the beach, but
right.
there was a swimming pool there and everything.
Whoa.
Which there are plenty of them on the beach, but we didn't fucking go to the beach. We went to one with a swimming pool instead, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then the whole place had this really tall, you know, like at least 8 foot tall chain link fence around it or whatever. I guess they have to have it because it's like an outdoor bar, and you know maybe
right.
so people don't wander in and fall in the pool or something. But the bar was next to the door, and it was the only door in and out. And I remember I got hammered. I got pissed at you know, my ex now or whatever, but I got pissed at her for some reason, and I just wanted to leave. I decided to sneak out, but she was sitting right in plain view of the door. So I went out over by the swimming pool and decided to climb over the fence. And I don't know what happened, but I suspect that I got to the top of the fence and then just fucking passed out and fell off the other side.
Oh my God.
Because I woke up the next day hurting, you know, all over, and apparently they found me like on the sidewalk on the other side of the fence.
Oh my gosh.
Passed out. And so that time probably sucked, although I don't remember it very well. The one where we were at the interchange, aka Daniels, I had been just kind of downing like everything inside. Remember I was double fisting those pitchers. I had a pitcher in each hand, and I was just drinking out of them until they told me I couldn't keep doing that. And then
I think that's like that place is so dangerous because it was so cheap. It was dirt cheap.
Yeah, and I was going for. I mean, I was just like, Ethan was there. He came up from where they were at. We hadn't seen him in a long time, you know. And, you were about to take those shots or whatever.
Oh God!
So I come over and I remember I rolled up on you and I grabbed onto your shoulders and I'm like, hey, where's mine? You know. And
shots are always a bad idea, and they're always done at the end of the night after you've been drinking all night.
It sometimes ends up being the end of the night, one way or the other. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, what is it? You know, and you're like, oh, these are what was it? Liquid cocaine? You said it was called, or something. And I was like, where's mine? And then you're like, dude, that's not a good idea, you know. And I'm like, fuck it, you know. And so you gave me one. What did you say? You handed it to me.
Oh, I always say, good night, buddy. Good night.
Good night. Is exactly what you said. And
especially that shot.
Sometime around like 10, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes later, I don't know, but I was outside in the snow, laying on the ground back behind the building, just laying there on the ground in the snow in the parking lot.
Oh God!
My guts out every couple of minutes.
Maybe that's why that place isn't open anymore.
Don't blame me.
Oh, I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, that's how drunk they would get people.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, you know, I gotta say, I did that to myself for sure. But
I mean, well, look, we all do it to ourselves. I mean, but
totally.
You know, it is kind of the bartender's, discretion to serve you.
Yeah, no, it is. That's why, people who are like super professional at fucking themselves up are really good at seeming normal at the ordering part, and then going back to, you know. But
God! Didn't they have these buckets of Corona that were like the cheapest things you've ever seen? It was almost as cheap as buying like a 12-pack in a store. No, actually, we were like, wait a minute, is this cheaper than buying a 12-pack in a store? Or it was like a bucket of Coronas for like $8 or something. I can't remember what it was. I was like, wait a minute, what is the math on this? And how are they making money? And we'd order these. And it was on a Saturday night. It wasn't like a, special Monday night special. This was on a Saturday night that they would have these big bucket specials. And I remember we would go to these things, and Daniel, how do you describe Daniel?
Daniel's he's a character, you know. He's a pretty funny guy, you know. He's just like, but he's not like trying to be a comedian. He's just, you know, it's funny because of his mannerisms and things, and you know, and he's a flamboyant sort of a guy, and you know, and it's like it's not in a way that's fucked up enough that, you know, like, it, you know, we don't care, you know, like we're
He's,
you know, we're
easily,
good with it anyway. You know, he's awesome. You know,
easily the craziest karaoke host that I've ever seen too. I mean, he'd start off. Remember, like how he'd start off, and I talked about this a little bit with April on her podcast. But he would start off and he's like, "We have Josh coming up, Josh, and he's gonna be singing blah blah blah." And then by the end of the night, he's like, "Ah!" And he's like, be like dancing on the wall, like just like on tables and stuff like that. And he'd be like, his dress changes. Like he'd come back like wearing like assless chaps. And you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? They're like, oh, he made a costume change. Like, we're like, what are you talking about?
Weren't you wearing pants a couple minutes ago? What happened to the pants?
Yeah. No kidding. But like, so that place that's how it would start. Like, you know, it'd be, you know, just a regular karaoke place. But then it was so cheap and it was like hidden. It was like this hidden bar, like off of the main road behind a Denny's. And the drinks were so cheap and they would just be slinging these shots in these drinks. And I remember this one time, I think Chuck and I were in there, and, one of our bartender friends, she would come in late because, you know, she's on bartender schedules. So she came in at like, I think we went to the bar and we were going to be leaving a little bit earlier than normal because the Seahawks game was the next day. So we're like, all right, let's get out of here. And she goes, whoa, I just got here. We're like, oh, sorry. Well, see you later. And she buys us like Patron shots, right? And I was like, oh man. You can't turn. It's like those are expensive shots. I don't know about at the interchange, but she goes, "Here's a shot of Patron," and I was like, "I didn't ask for a shot." All right. So I see Chuck, and Chuck literally takes his and he throws it behind his back. He kind of like I don't know if it's Dumb and Dumber or whatever Herc it was, like where the shot just goes behind his back, you know. And he goes, "Thanks," and I go, "Well, I'm not going to do that. Like she just probably spent like $10 on the shot or whatever." So I drink the shot. Next thing I know, I was passed out on the floor of the interchange in the bathroom. Can you think of a worse place to be passed out?
No, man. The floor, the bathroom floor in the interchange is worse than like the holding tank at the county jail. Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, according to, you know, what I've heard from a friend.
Yeah. It kind of reminds you of like what's the best way to describe this? Kind of like have you ever been to a rock concert and you go to use the porta potty and this is towards the end of the night? That's what the interchange bathroom kind of looked like. The bottom of a porta potty at the end of a concert. That's where I was passed out. Yeah. April Well had to come get me, and yeah, it's great. Great time. So yeah. But anyway, so where's the strangest place you've ever passed out? I mean, because you said that you passed out on the street, like face down on the street or something like that. But that's, I mean, lots of people do that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Most of them are homeless, I think, but yeah, a lot of people do that.
It's true.
I don't know. I've woke up, like there were times, and I'm not, you know, obviously like I don't feel good about this at all or anything, but there were a lot of times where somehow I managed to, you know, like I managed to drive myself home, and like that is fucking just terrifying to think about now. Like
right.
What the hell is my problem? A statement I could make for many other things in my past, but the context of this particular thing, there were times when like I woke up sometime in the morning, face down in my front lawn with my feet still up in the car with the door open.
Oh my God. That visual looks like a movie, like something you'd see in one of those like college movies or something.
Oh yeah. It was like kind of reminds me of that part in like the Wolf of Wall Street where like
right.
DiCaprio is like he's totally fucked up and trying to get in his car or whatever. Except for I was just trying to get out. Like
you were trying to get out instead of trying to get in, like on drugs, right?
Yeah.
Oh God.
There's a lot of times where I woke up and like I don't have any idea how I got there. But most of the time, I didn't end up passing out in places really strange because
you had people with you.
Had somebody with me, that like managed to get me to somewhere.
They're guiding you like a dog.
Yeah, like when John was at Pullman, I think the Halloween one, I got just super all messed up, and I ended up like meeting up with some girl. I don't know. She like latched onto me and started like dragging me all around the places, like telling me that I was her Abercrombie boy. Like, cause Chris worked at the mall, so that's where all my clothes came from at the time. so anyway, we found it like at this house, down there. Went up this like stairway. Somebody had locked the upstairs rooms apparently, so that people like me and her could not actually go in the rooms up there, but we ended up making it out in the stairs anyways, by the locked door up in there. And everybody else left because they're like, oh, we're not waiting for him to, just like, whatever he's doing. So Chris stayed though. And I came back down and, he's like, everybody went back. Well, me and Chris had never been to John's house there before this time.
Oh, great.
I couldn't have found it, like, even if I wasn't wasted. Like, I couldn't have found it again. And so, anyway, middle of the night or, whatever. And I can't hardly even stand up. And so Chris has to hold me up. Like, he's got a big handful of, like, the back of my jacket, and he's got, like, my arm. And he's holding me up and leading me around like a blind person. And we're walking around and I'm pretty sure that Chris doesn't have any fucking idea where John's house is. Right. But neither do I. So I'm like, okay. And then I start trying to be helpful, and I'm like, dude, I think it's over there. And he's like, no, it's this way. And I don't believe him, but it's not like I can get away, and go where I want. Cause if you let go of me, I'm just falling over. So, we're walking. And to me, it seems like it's taken forever. Finally, I'm like, I stop and I won't move anymore. And I'm like, dude, I'm serious. Like, I think it's that way. And he just looks at me and he shakes his head and he goes, we're standing in this front yard right now.
Oh, you were in the front yard there? You were already there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. We were standing in John's front yard.
Oh, so you're arguing with him about like where to go. And he's like, dude, we're here now. We're actually here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. That's how stupid I was. Like,
that is awesome. That's one thing that you and I have in common. We're really bad drinkers. We're not good seasonal. There's the Ryans that can literally crack a beer at 8:30 in the morning and go all day and then till closing time. That's not me, and I know that's definitely not you either. So. And you also go really hard, really fast too. So that's not a good strategy.
Yeah, that's where were you years ago? Just tell me that.
I've always been the worst drinker of all my friends by far. I'm not a good drink. I have to, you've seen me. I have to plan everything out. I'm like, okay, I need a water here. I need to take vitamins and salt pills and like Advil so I don't wake up and waste 2 days trying to get with a hangover. Almost killing myself.
What, you do. But if it wasn't for you doing that shit, I would have had so many more fucked up feeling mornings, dude. Your preparations for that shit has saved me like quite a few.
People, it's funny because like people don't believe me or like believe that it actually worked. Like there's people like Eric. Eric. Eric doesn't really get hangovers, but to prevent a hangover, I'll give him some of these things before the end of the night. And he goes, yeah, I mean, I never really got hangovers, but I definitely feel better than I would have if I just wouldn't have done anything and went to sleep, passed out, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that helped a lot. Like when we were in like when we were in Chelan and stuff like that, we had that all laid out, right there on the counter. Holy kid, that was awesome. I woke up feeling like a million.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, seriously, I was just like, I mean, I even got up earlier than I normally do. It was just like fucking like 6:30 in the morning. I jump up. I'm like, hey, what's up? And everybody's still sleeping.
You guys,
I'm
like, what's going on with Sean over there?
Well, I'm like up like looking for stuff to eat, of course, and yeah.
Well, you were mentioning John and his place in Pullman, and it got me thinking about John's old basement, and last time we talked about John's basement and stuff like that. And as mentioned, we didn't have the internet back then, but we did have VCRs, and we try to entertain ourselves with anything we could, and most of the time it was movies.
Yeah.
So you remember that one time we were watching Dazed and Confused? And, this is the kind of stuff that we would do to entertain ourselves.
Oh, are you talking? Is this the time when we decided to make the list?
Yes.
I still have that.
You still have that list? Are you kidding me? So we were like,
no, dude, I have that. It's in my filing cabinet.
I don't know who. I just remember. I was mocking him, but I don't know who came up with the. I wonder how many times he says "man" in this movie. He's like, all right, man. All right, man. He's like, man. Like, and I was like, dude, we should count how many times he says man. And you're like, let's do it now. And I go, well, what else we have to do? It's like us back in the day. It's like, all right, so we did it. We rewound the tape. And here we are, just sitting here pausing it. Okay, there's another one. Oh, there's another one.
It's up there. There's quite a few. And what's really awesome about the little piece of paper that we used for that list was that while you're marking them off, you drew a little picture of him on there.
That is awesome. Well, and it's funny because shit like that, just dumb, stupid stuff like that is stuff that goes viral on YouTube now. Like a stupid video of he says man, and then it goes ding, and they have like a counter at the bottom. Like, I've seen these videos.
Oh yeah.
We were doing this before there were viral videos on the internet. So we're trailblazers. And did we talk about the deck of cards last time on the last episode that John used to have?
I don't remember if we did or not, but I still have that list too.
The rules were like something like, hey, pick out your top 3 favorites. John picks out his top 3 favorites. I pick up my top 3 favorites. And then Sean has a stack of 15 cards.
Well, it was just pick out your favorite one, right? Like mark which ones they were, 7 of diamonds, whatever.
Right.
And and we had the 3 of us.
Should we explain what these cards were?
In 1 second. that will be the best part. You had 6 or 7 cards on there. I think maybe John had maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere around in there. I had 30, so 3/4 of the deck.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. I just remember I just look at you and I'm like, dude, what the hell? You're not playing the game. You're like, I can't pick, man. And I'm like, oh, for Christ's sakes. No, because it was John had this deck of cards.
Yeah, it was all the naked chick playing cards.
Yeah. It's just a variety of all these naked girls. I was like, okay. So yeah, it's kind of like those cards when you walk in Vegas and people are just handing out throwing that shit at you of hey man, you call this number and you're like, dude, yeah.
Yeah, so it's baseball cards for the host, or whatever, Right. Yeah, no, I didn't. Last time I was there, I didn't actually see anybody doing that.
I don't think I did either. Maybe they put a stop to that because it's literally promoting hookers. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're and then you'd be walking and they would literally try to shove it in your hand. You're like, oh no thanks. And they're literally, you put your hand up and they put the thing in your hand. And I'm like, as much as I want little pictures of naked women, I don't want to be carrying these around. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of those things where you forget about it and then you wake up, the next day or something and you find that in your pocket and you're like, what the fuck is this?
One of my friends went there and he goes, I'm going to not only accept every single card they offer to me, but I'm going to keep all of them and I'm going to stack them up at the end of the trip. And it was like a big, giant stack sitting on the table right before we were leaving. I'm like, what are you going to do with that stack? And he's like, probably pick out my favorites and I'll leave the rest here. And I'm like, this is so stupid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, think about how many that would be. I mean, there's so many of those guys, and you just, keep walking back and forth to those guys all up and down the strip.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, I was there in November.
Oh, wow.
And
so recent.
I didn't see fairly recently, yeah. I didn't see any of them.
How many times have you been to Vegas?
Oh, a lot. Last time I was there, like November, that was the only time I was there for, it didn't have to do with work. But I used to go every year because there was a conference, for the industry that I was in.
The porn conference?
It's not the porn conference.
Oh, you're talking about the technology? I went there for conferences too, but it was like for construction and shit like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it was So I went every year, but I don't gamble. So Vegas is not like, it doesn't have the greatest like appeal to me,
right?
Because I can drink and be an idiot and eat a bunch of food like anywhere pretty much. So other than gambling, that's pretty much what there is. And I lived and worked in around Atlantic City for a year, in the casino and stuff. And I definitely don't gamble after that because I know what's involved and how it works. And
so we didn't usually work together. I don't think we really ever had the same types of jobs, but one time you and I did work together, and that was with Lee installing pavers at City Hall in Auburn. Remember that?
Yeah.
The weather was fantastic. Just pouring like rain, freezing rain. It was like 32 degrees out.
Yeah, I guess that was the one that year because we had. Because me and Lee did a couple other ones, like we did a park up in Oak Harbor and stuff like that too. But I guess the Auburn one was the only one that me and you. Yeah, because remember I had
retired from BC Pavers, and they brought me back out of retirement. All that lucrative money that they offered to me to come back out of retirement. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I'm back. I'm coming back for the summer. So I came back, and it's just like one of those things where like. It's fun to work with your friends, especially like that kind of job, but it sucks because of the job that you're doing. We're spreading gravel and shit and like hauling pavers, but you get to talk how you want. You get to joke around all day. That part was fun. I always like that part of construction. That's the part of construction that I always.
Sometimes I think that the shittier the job is, the more fun it is to work with your friends because you can all like.
Oh yeah.
You're like all in misery together.
Yes.
And you can it gives you like extra shit to talk.
Oh, definitely. This is like grunt work where you're like,
oh yeah,
hauling just slabs of concrete all day for like 10 hours. And it's terrible. I'm like, what are we doing? So we just make fun of each other all day.
Yeah. You're not even, construction, that would even be different, like you're not hammering in,
right.
You're not hammering in fucking nails or putting up drywall. You're down on your hands and knees like half the time.
Yeah.
And carrying around, big concrete blocks.
Oh, it's so bad,
and
dude.
Doing stuff that you go through like, a pair or two of heavy work gloves per day.
Oh yeah. It's like 17-year-olds should be doing this, not people that are, well into their 30s.
Yeah, they're destroying your shoes, like.
Oh yeah.
And that one in Auburn. Do you remember? It rained, snowed, or hailed on us every single day.
I got some good pictures of Lee in that.
We didn't have one day where it didn't do that.
I remember I was like, I had to go underneath a bunch of different layers of clothes so I could dry my phone and then cover my phone because it was raining so bad. And Lee's like, his whole body is covered in mud and he's cutting on top of that on a wet saw. And I go, hey, Lee, I got to get a picture of this. This is just too good. We're going to love this down the road. He goes, yeah, this is great. And I go, oh, no, let me get a picture, buddy. And he's just, these pictures of him are so fantastic. They are great. So like, at the time they're horrible, but I'm like, I just, foreshadowing. I'm like, oh, this is so good. This is so good.
Yeah. I liked how, remember how like sometimes in the morning we would get there because we had to start, like it was early in the morning. It would all still be, the sand and everything would still be so frozen that we couldn't actually do anything with it.
You have to wait till it thaws out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, that was fun though. I mean, look at it. Look at it now. Like, all the three of us can for the rest of our life drive through Auburn and be like, did that.
Yeah, totally. That is the one cool thing about that. Yeah. Yeah. I can point to a couple places that I've actually installed a lot of stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But speaking of some shitty times, have you ever had any near-death experiences?
Probably more than I should have.
Give me a good one. Give me one that like you almost died. Because I know that this is like something I keep asking people because, this is like one of these things that everybody has in common with each other is these near-death experiences. And I'm always fascinated to ask these because apparently we all have them.
Yeah. It's kind of strange. For one thing, I spent 20 years of my life very literally putting myself in between somebody and the person who wanted to kill them. And I've been shot at a couple of times. Once is more than enough, but, more than once. And
Jesus,
the time that I actually thought I was going to die, like more than any other time, was the time I tried to fucking surf in the hurricane.
Oh, it's like a Point Break.
Like Point Break, except for a couple of things. One, I'm not a surfer, so it was stupid right away because I've never even surfed before.
Oh, okay.
And also, I didn't have a surfboard, so But what
are you surfing on?
Well, I thought I was gonna. I don't know if I
take a garbage can lid out there or something.
I thought I was going to do what I was calling body surfing. Like I thought that I could just kind of get out there and then I thought I was going to like catch like kind of a wave and then just kind of ride it in, like, like kind of half swimming, half like,
oh God,
man, like, I don't know.
This sounds
like saying this out loud. It sounds stupider and stupider the more that I say. So I'll stop trying to describe that. But like, here's why. Okay. Like, here's why.
Why.
This is when I lived in Florida.
I'm only accepting stoned and drunk.
None of the above.
Oh, okay.
Even better. I lived in South Florida. I lived in like around in Fort Lauderdale, and the water down there, Fort Lauderdale Beach, Miami Beach. It's for people who haven't been there or whatever, or if you have, it's really calm. Pretty much, there's no waves. There's no surfing down there really to be had. Like there is up north. But not down there. So one of the times we had hurricane come in. I don't remember which one it was. Hugo, maybe. Not sure. It was after Andrew, but because if I had gone out during on Andrew, I definitely would have died.
Oh,
but
God.
Anyway, you can see the hurricane like off way out in the water. When it gets close and before it gets in close enough to really start wrecking shit. But it was on its way in, and they had evacuated and closed out, down in the middle of Fort Lauderdale, out by the beach and everything. And, and that's like Las Olas and A1A and stuff like, all of that. So I saw this on the news, and we had like what you call the hurricane shutters. And so you put them over the doors and windows and everything, and then you're kind of locked in until it's over. But I was watching TV before the power and stuff went out, and there was some news crews down there kind of filming the beach before they, like for the last couple minutes before they, jumped in their van or whatever and, hauled ass. And it's all Black Flag. There's nobody down there, completely, ghost town. And in the water, the Fort Lauderdale beach was just, I saw these awesome waves like down there. It was like Point Break though. And I was like, oh, we never get waves. So I fucking unscrewed the panel from the hurricane shutters, and I climbed out the window, and I went down there, and in my fucking shorts and everything. And like I said, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I I just thought I was going to get in on some waves somehow. There was a lot of good parking spots, by the way, when I got there. Anyway, I ran across the street, and I ran down there and I jumped in and I started swimming out, and the waves, they were really coming in, and so it was hard to get. It was hard to get. Oh yeah, man, it was hard to get it was hard to get far enough out. It was hard to get far enough out because it just kept on like
kept pushing you back, bringing you back in.
And so anyway, I kept on swimming, and I saw this one, and I was like, oh, this one looks cool. And I turned around and looked behind me. I wanted to see, how close to the beach I still was. And so I was pretty close. So I decided to swim under this one instead of get pushed back towards the beach.
Okay.
And that was a mistake. The whole thing wasn't a mistake, but as soon as I went under, it was kind of like being inside of a washing machine, or at least what I think that would be like. And
this is before you had kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to check. I'm just checking. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't see yourself doing this now.
Yeah, this was probably my dumbest, like, Florida man moment, And so the thing was, if you think about it, like, if I had died, right, like, there's nobody out there, nobody knew I was going. I didn't say anything to anybody. So I would have.
Oh, great! So this would have been for nothing.
Corpse would have washed up on the beach.
And this is just in the hopes that the camera crew was still there recording.
No, there was nobody there.
Okay.
I was totally by myself.
Oh, great.
Yeah, no, it was 100% solo mission. I wasn't looking for attention or anything.
Oh God.
And so anyway, yeah, it actually sucked me under, and I was spinning around, and it was like, it knocked me on the bottom a couple times and everything, and I started getting concerned because I couldn't get to the top, and I couldn't, I needed to breathe. I have encountered a very grave miscalculation of my abilities here. So I decided that, I was like, I gotta get out of here. And
now you do.
And I couldn't, I couldn't get out. I couldn't get to the top. I couldn't. Every time I tried to take a breath, I ended up sucking in like half lung full of water, and I started thinking like, fuck, I might actually die. So. Other thing was, it was really difficult for me to figure out which way was back to the beach. Right? Like, I couldn't get to the top of the water, and I couldn't look around, and it was spinning me around and everything. So I caught a glimpse of where the light looked like it was coming from, and I ended up having to stay under. And I was like digging my hands and feet into the sand on the bottom and trying to crawl and like trying to grip the bottom.
Jesus.
Like, dig into the bottom and then crawl. And it was so difficult, man. It was like every time I felt like I managed to make a little bit of progress, a wave would come in, it would shove me forward so hard that it would jam me down into the sand face first. And then it would suck me back out again. And then when I, tried to get up from that, it would come back in again, hit me in the back of the head and shove me in again and over and over again. And I was just like, all I could think was like, I don't think I'm going to make it, but if I stop, I definitely won't. Like, if I stop, I'm going to die. And I just kept on trying to crawl, man. And then little by little, started getting like up out of the water, and more onto the sand.
Right.
And the waves kept coming in, and and they would hit me and they would pull me back. But when they pulled back far enough, like it would leave me, just on the sand. And so I knew I was making some progress. But it had taken me so much effort and so much time to get that far out of the water. I couldn't stand up. Like everything felt like rubber. And I didn't even have anything left in me to even stand up. So I crawled on my hands and knees all the way to the little retaining wall at Fort Lauderdale Beach. It's been there since, I don't know, like the 70s or however long. So it's got like that Miami Vice looking like fluorescent tubing, in it. But anyway, I crawled up to that and I sat by it for a second. And
so what you're trying to
so stupid.
what you're trying to say is, for all the kids listening out there who are thinking about body surfing in the middle of a hurricane, think twice. Don't do it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Or make sure you have a surfboard or some sort of flotation device.
Yeah. Yeah. Preferably,
maybe the flotation, the flotation device might have taken you out to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I'd be out there like, with a fucking volleyball and some FedEx packages.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah, definitely one of my just all-time stupider.
Well, that was
ideas,
uncomfortable.
Sure.
That was an uncomfortable experience. Just hearing it was uncomfortable. Kind of reminded me of is remember when we all took that weekend trip to Westport with John and his family.
Yeah.
And Westport is kind of like south of on the coast near Ocean Shores.
Yeah, next to Aberdeen and everything. Yeah.
Yep. Good old Kurt Cobain area. And I don't know if you remember this. Remember when we had just gotten into town and we stopped into a McDonald's and here we go, back to food. I just have to full circle. We're standing at this McDonald's and these girls are looking over at us and they're like giggling. And we're like, what are they giggling at? And we finally realized that they're looking at Visball. Do you remember this?
I convinced them that he was Adam Sandler and they got his autograph.
And of course, because he looked just like Adam Sandler back in the day, and he was able to even do the voice, back in the days, I don't know the Adam Sandler, so he was doing his impersonation, hamming it up and everything, and I was like, that was awesome. I don't know why that just came up, but it did. Remember nothing about that trip. Remember John's cousin looked like that chick from that movie. What was that movie? The Stoned Age. Remember the Stoned Age?
Yeah.
It's like the poor man's Dazed and Confused.
The poor man's Dazed and Confused. Yeah.
It's so dumb, but I like that movie. I like those teen movies that are set in like a different era, like Detroit Rock City. I love those movies.
Yeah. They got beat up for the Kiss tickets or whatever. It's funny.
Yes.
No, which one is better, Dazed and Confused or Stoned Age?
I mean, I like Dazed Confused probably better, but what's it called is probably funnier. Stoned Age is probably because it's just dumb. It's like supposed to be dumb comedy.
It's a better movie. Yeah, it's so like I think Dazed and Confused is a better movie.
Oh yeah,
it's about like a group of characters and like how it went on like the last day of school,
right?
And how just like how they were back then, and just like a end of school, end of school day, end of school year, kind of a thing. Stoned Age was about these couple of dudes,
stupid. Go to this party
and being jackasses, trying to get some ass and and get their drink on or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, I just thought that was, I don't know why that just came up, but I just thought of that. And then one last thing, your old cherry red Dodge Ram. Remember that awesome old truck you used to have?
It was maroon. It was
maroon. Okay.
It was like kind of maroonish. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But I just remember I used to love that truck because it's still to this day the only vehicle that I could literally watch the gas gauge go down as you drove. Like I could watch the gas literally just slowly go down towards empty while you're driving. That was entertainment in itself. What kind of gas mileage did that get?
Like bad enough that you could watch the gauge go all the way down. Like
it was so bad, dude. It was so bad.
Yeah, no, it was a 78. It was 78 Dodge. It had a 440 in it, and it was a full-time 4-wheel drive.
Oh god. So
it just sucked down. Like I ran out of gas so often in that.
Oh god.
That it was just kind of like I can guarantee you we're gonna get where we're going, but I don't guarantee that we're not walking back. It was like like
that is so true, man.
I can't even tell you how many times like I ran out of gas, but I coasted. I kept on coasting down the road right up into the gas pump, like out of sheer luck. Like, and you know, when you run out of gas and then your engine dies, and then you got like no power steering anymore, so I'm just like cranking on the wheel, like trying to pull up into the gas station.
God!
And I pull up to the pump with a big grin on my face, like, yeah, I made it.
Yes.
You know? And then commenced to digging through the glove compartment for all the change, you know, that I was going to use to buy gas.
Oh God, how sad, dude. hilarious. But you know what? Also, it's that truck also reminds me of the first time that I ever heard The Offspring. I was like, "Who's this?" And you're like, "Oh yeah." And then you put it in. And I was like, "Dude, this is awesome." And yeah, it was like their first, commercially big album, smash, I think. And I like every time after that, I'm like, "Oh, put that album in. Oh, it's awesome." And it was for some reason, I don't know why. For some reason, it was that album and Alice in Chains' first album that had "Man in the Box" on it. I always wanted to hear those two. Loved those two albums.
Yeah, I had that big case of tapes, that fit in the compartment under the middle seat.
You'd always have to have the heat all the way blasting. Like, even if it was summertime, you're like, yeah, the heat has to be on. I'm like, oh, okay. Just. Yeah. I had there was some, I don't know, there was some sort of, something in the air or the cooling system. If I didn't have the heat going, it would overheat.
so just turn on the heater, full blast, and roll down the window.
So ridiculous. I'm like, oh man, this is and it's one of those things too where, like, I don't know how old we were, but as far as myself, I ain't complaining. Are you kidding me? I'm getting a ride. Even if we have to walk somewhere, this is further than we're even getting. So it's a win-win situation here. So even if I can throw Sean as much money as I can for gas when we run out, which wasn't a lot, it's going to be enough to get like a couple of drops of gas in there to get us a couple of miles down the road.
That thing was heavy too, so like if I ran out somewhere and we had to push it, that always sucked.
Oh, that's another example of how we didn't have cell phones back in the day. So it's real. You're really truly gambling. Like that's. See, oh yeah, no shit. You talk about like not going to Vegas and gambling because you did enough gambling in your early days with all this other shit.
For me, gambling is like on like Vegas Vacation, where the dude is just like, how about you just give me whatever you got left in your pocket, I'll kick you in the nuts and we'll call it a day.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what gambling is to me. But that truck, me and John one time, it would have random things go wrong with it because like it was made in the 70s, just like me. So apparently that's a prerequisite for having a shitload of problems. The starter one time, it died when me and John were at Red Robin in Kent, and we came out in the middle of the night when they were closing, and it wouldn't start. Oh. We had to walk as like probably 2 or 3 in the morning, something like that. We had to walk from the Kent Red Robin all the way back to my house, like back over by when I lived by the racetrack. Oh,
how long did that take? Was the sun coming up?
It was a couple hours, I think. Just walking in the middle of the night. We walked all the way back. It was not a nice day or anything. And then in the morning, I had to get up, go buy a new starter, and then go back to the Red Robin and with my tools and crawl underneath it and change my starter in the Red Robin parking lot. Like a jackass.
Oh, the good old days. The good old days.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that was still one of my favorite vehicles ever, though.
Yeah, no, there's some definite memories with that vehicle. That's for sure. All right, dude. Well, hey, we could seriously go on and on about the good old days and all the awesome vehicles made in the 70s that we owned. It's always a blast talking to you. Hope your family's all well. Hope you're staying out of trouble.
Yeah, no, it's like kind of like that for the most part.
It makes for better stories if you aren't staying out of trouble, but I'm glad that you are staying out of trouble for the time being.
This whole time has basically been a collection of me talking about how stupid I am.
I did the same thing with Lee too. And he's like, Jesus Christ, we're just reminiscing about how much of an asshole I am. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man.
Vision episode. Yeah.
But I can't wait for you to come back down and visit, and we'll have to do this again, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'll come back down, man. I got it.
Sounds like a plan. Well, hey, have a good one. Be safe, and we'll talk to you later, man.
Sounds good.
All right,
man.
Thanks a lot, Sean. Have a good one.
What's wrong with Sean? He's fucking hammered.
Yes, that is the diagnosis.
Thank you for tuning in to the Josh and Friends podcast. If you have any questions or comments about today's show, feel free to leave a message in the comment section below. If you enjoy listening to the podcast, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow the show. And check out some of the video clips posted on YouTube and Facebook. I'm Josh, and thank you for being a friend.